In today's video, I'll be sharing lessons that I've learned this past year from being single. Right? Obviously, I went through a really bad breakup last year from a very serious relationship that I was with that person for 3.5 years. And I was been single this past year, from May last year, and I'm filming this. It's June, and I'll be sharing just different lessons that I've learned this past year living my single life. Okay, I hope that you'll be blessed by it. So we're not going to waste any time. We're going to dive in right away. So the first lesson that I learned this past year is that the cure for loneliness is not being, with a guy or trying to distract yourself with activities and, those things. Because I do think sometimes when as ladies, when you're single, the first thing is oh my gosh, I'm freedom. I can just do whatever I want. I can party, I can drink and, text whenever, go out with whoever, You don't have anyone to restrict you and say you can't do this and you can't do that, right? But what I've learned this past year is that when you're doing these things and you feel like you're doing I'm living my best life, that's not always the solution to kind of comfort you and make you feel better and for you to actually heal, right? Because what I learned is that those things it's a distraction and it prevents you from actually taking the time to heal, taking the time to actually heal your heart and get better, be better, right? So last year, as soon as things ended, not almost immediately, a couple of weeks later, I tried to do the typical thing as person does when they're single, go out, fornicate, all of those things. And very quickly, I realized this can't be it. Very quickly, I became very depressed and I was like, I cannot continue doing this. And so I had to stop, reflect, and just ask God for forgiveness because it was not... It was not a good way to live, okay? And where I am right now, I'm so thankful that I actually had the time to pause everything and, just take them, just be by myself, no partying, no drinking, nothing, just be alone in my place by myself for months. And that time was good for me to heal my heart. It was good for me to for my mental health as well. It helped me a lot. And even the set of people that I was kind of entertaining or talking to, I'm I should have never given them the time of my day because at the end of the day, I am much more valuable. I am much more worthy than, giving myself away to a person that, doesn't care, to a person that doesn't want, anything serious with me. They just want to sleep with me and that's it. I am much more worthy. Much more worthier than that. I didn't realize it at the time, obviously, but now looking back, I'm certain things I was dabbling into, I shouldn't have been dabbling into those things. Okay. The second lesson that I learned is that being single is so much better than being in a relationship where you're unhappy, right? Now, obviously, even if you're social media, society, family, everything, everything will be pushing you, towards a relationship. When you're single, especially now, I'm in my late 20s, the first thing is oh yeah, when are you gonna get married? It's always it's that constant pressure of wanting you to be with someone, right? And while I do value companionship, I do, want to get married again one day, all of those wonderful things. The thing is that though, even with that, now, if I compare myself to the person that I was when I was in a relationship when I was unhappy to a place where I am at right now, I'm actually so much the beginning months were very it was hard to be first months when you're just done with it. But after a while, after you have healed, after you've taken time to be for yourself, the joy that I get to experience now, the peace, I cannot even compare at all. And, this thing of trying to push people into being into relationships, trying to push people into marriage, and they are miserable. They are marrying marrying for the wrong reasons, marrying the wrong people. Ultimately, it's just causing unhappiness. It's causing deep dissatisfaction that I absolutely do not condone at all. When you're in love and you're with some, it's absolutely amazing. When you're having those honeymoon stages and everything, it's wonderful as long as you're with the right person. But if you're not with the right person and it is fights, it is toxic or whatever the situation may be, then no. I do think some people are just oh yeah, they would rather just be in something, even if they're miserable, even if they're unhappy, just to say that they're in a relationship or just to say that they're married, right? I'm just not about that life. I'm really not. Now, especially now more than ever, I'm no, my happiness comes first. And, if you're in a relationship, obviously you're going to have your ups and downs. Like, I do feel that is normal, but ultimately, like, your life should be a one that you're fulfilled and you're happy on a day-to-day basis, and not just living miserable and just to say you're dating someone, just to say I'm in a relationship, just to say you're not single, right? I am thankful for every step that I've taken to a place where I'm at now. I'm thankful for all of that. The third lesson that I learned is that when you're single, this is the best time to spend time with God. Like, this is the best time. Like, that's what I've learned. I'm learning, still learning a little bit, but I have learned. I'll be honest and say, so obviously, I've been trying to get closer to God and everything, but I did realize last year when I was talking to certain people, like right now I can actually have, time to spend time with God, like read my word, worship and everything, pray and everything. But there was a time, a few weeks, I would say last year, when I was talking to a certain individual, and because I like them so much, I talk about it how to detach and everything. But because I like that person so much, I enjoy talking to them so much. When I would wake up, sometimes, most of the days, I just want to text. I just want to, have conversation. Or I'll be like, okay, when I get home, I'm going to read my Bible before I go to bed and everything. But then I get home, and instead of reading my Bible, I am texting for hours, basically. And that I'm not proud of that moment at all. And I don't think that is a good place to be. So if you're, I don't know people who are dating and, Christian dating and everything, because I've not been dating at all. I don't know how people, how they navigate these things. But I think when you're single and you have, plenty of time, at least I don't have kids. So it's a lot of time for you to grow your relationship with God. You have most times, no distractions, to spend time, the other day I shared here before that I was just today I just want to worship, right? And I was I just want to, I shared one that I was 3 hours. There was another day it was actually 7 hours, it was great. I don't even know how I did, but I was just today I just want to worship. I was just God, I just want to spend time with you today. My channel of grace is worship. I love to worship. I was just I'm just gonna worship today, and it was amazing. It was an incredible day that even I don't even know how those hours went by. It went by super quick, but I'm so thankful, that I was able to do that. But I feel like stuff like that you can only do when you're single, and even when you're in a relationship, you still can. But it would be more difficult because when let's say if you're married, you have to, certain things you have to talk to your partner about before you engage in, right? Let's say you want to go away for a treat for 3 days just by yourself. You can't just do that. You have to first talk about it and, both agree and everything, right? So, and of course, you also have less time because you're, part of your time is being spent with that person that you're with, right? So I think that makes sense all around, altogether. And another lesson that I learned this past year is financial independence, right? So obviously I've shared that the person that I was with at the time that I was with him, I was fully dependent on him. He was taking care of me and everything. I didn't have to worry about bills. I didn't have to worry about, rent and all of those things. But obviously now being alone and I have to take care of everything by myself, right? And, certain things that you may, you're not even thinking about, certain expenses you're not even thinking about. It's just money just comes into your account and you're just doing whatever you like. And then very quickly it's oh, actually, no, you cannot do that, right? So just learning, about how to manage my finances, how to save up, how to, make sure that, my bills are taken care of and everything. Actually, I can say, okay, even before I was with him, there was a time that I was, independent and everything. But this time it's been on a whole new level because I actually all by myself. But apart from that, also even my life began from scratch. Even the place I had to get the franchise and everything had to be from me, right? I had to get everything. So just from that perspective, it was a lot of lessons. I made, some mistakes. I fumbled a little bit, but I am learning, how to better manage my money. And also, even as the months are going by, I do feel like I'm learning more, and I'm interested as well to learn more, read even books, I have a list of different money books, books that will teach you entrepreneurship or teach you about investments, those kind of things. I'm more interested in learning those things right now than I was back then. And the fifth lesson that I learned was just to ask myself, what am I now looking for, right? I think most of us ladies can relate in a way that once you have been in a relationship where, you're unhappy, things had to end, or even if the person you're with left you, right, sort of thing, you get the time to, like, when you're single, because obviously, like, I would like to date again and everything, but you get time to think about, what am I now looking for? Like, what is now important to me, right? Because, the relationship ended, but of course, there were some good things about that person. There was some not so great things about that person, right? All of us were not perfect, that's fine. But then it's like also realizing, okay, what is now like absolutely like non-negotiable, like 100% non-negotiables. Some things, of course, you're willing, I get to compromise and everything, but you'll get to learn, like I got to really ask myself, especially this year, I'm just like, oh yes, I would like to date again, I would like to be in a relationship again and everything, but what am I looking for, right? And I think even before you have started dabbling into the dating world, you should ask yourself this question. And for me, what I've number one, like now 100, like I'm going to say this right now. Number one thing has to be 100%. He has to be a believer. Like not only, just like a church goer or, you can pray in tongues, those things. No, fruits of the spirit, it has to be on display. Your genuineness to actually know God and love God. And I'm going to say this right now, as you and I, we're having a connection right now. I'm going to say this. If you're a subscriber to my channel, if you're not, what are you waiting for? So being under spiritual authority right now is very, very, very important. I mean, would I like if they're fine, if they're, tall, dark, and handsome? Absolutely. Like but for me, those things are like, it's more like extra things, but they're not like the main things that I'm actually looking after. But those three things that I've mentioned, those are the absolute non-negotiables. And perhaps maybe on another date, I will share more stuff that is on my list. Okay. I hope that you're blessed by this video today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye.